Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Saberminded Baseball Podcast presented by The Dugout. I'm Dawson Wright here, joined as always by Noah Wright. And Noah, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
It's Super Bowl Sunday when we're recording this, but that really means that baseball is right around the corner. We're getting really close to pitchers and catchers reporting, and spring training will be on the way. And still, hardly anyone has signed a contract yet, isn't it?
Yeah, the big players are still just floating out there.
Yeah, we have Harper, Machado. Kimbrel still hasn't signed a deal because he wanted like 6 years, which is absolutely mental. Like, I don't understand what he's thinking, but
yeah, he's a relief pitcher. He's not gonna get like a Harper deal.
Yeah, no matter how much he thinks he's worth, but. Today, we are going to first be talking about two-way players, a little bit how cheaper teams can use them in a way, managers being open to the use of two-way players and how they're going to be factored in. And then after break, we are going to be talking about Bryce Harper and the Tampa Bay Rays, which was very interesting. There were a lot of reports that came out yesterday, which we are going to get into after the break. But two-way players. It's an interesting topic and something we saw very recently. We saw Matt Davidson signed a 1-year minor league.
Yeah, he signed a minor league deal with the Rangers to be a two-way player.
Well, do we know if he's going to be a two-way player yet?
I think I saw in MLB trade rumors that they want to utilize him like that. So,
well, that's good because that's something that I think is absolutely
great.
Mean,
I don't see no reason they won't just risk it and be like, yeah, we'll try it out to see how it works.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really like they're not like top tier contenders, so they can run with the risk.
Yeah. Well, one concern that's come up with two-way players, especially after Shohei Ohtani this year, is the chance of injury seems to be higher, at least.
Yeah,
maybe for some guys.
At least for I think starters, it would be higher.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think it would be as much for relief pitchers?
No, I mean Ohtani, he's a starter. He's going to go out there pitch 5, 6, maybe even 7 innings at a time for 30 times a year. Whereas relief pitcher comes out every once in a while, gets an inning or two in. Then it's not as big of a workload.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the reliever, though, because if you think about it, relievers could be used, even more, I would say.
But they don't eat, but in innings-wise, they don't have, the same inning count or anything close to that.
True, but in overall innings, they could have more.
Right?
Like Michael Lorenzen, for example.
Yeah.
If he plays left field for the Reds this year, and then they bring him into pitch, they might take him out, but it could be, I don't know, he could go into the 7th inning. That could be something they do semi-daily, at least.
Yeah,
maybe.
But most of the time, Lorenzen isn't a starter. Yeah,
I know. But, 6 innings of playing left, 1 inning of relief. That's quite a bit. Especially, I don't think they would use them every day. I don't think it's possible.
I think,
for someone to go every day like that.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't use them every day. It'd more be like a platoon outfield spot.
Mm-hmm. But something that's the other way around, like Matt Davidson, could be used every day, if you think about it. You could have, remember earlier last year where the Rays put in Sergio Romo to pitch, and then they put him at third base.
Yeah, for a third of an inning, and then they put him back on the mound.
Yeah, and then they put him back on the mound. Davidson could be used for matchups like that, which is really interesting. You could have
lefty-righty matchups.
Yeah, you could have him go from third to pitcher, and then bat to third if a lefty's up, and you want to bring in the lefty, and then bat to pitching again, which. Yeah. R.I.P. scorekeepers, because that's going to be one heck of a game to have to scorekeep for.
Yeah.
But I feel like for guys like Matt Davidson, you could use every day, as long as he's on that hitting level. If he hits consistently enough, he can be used every single day. He probably won't pitch every single day, but he could pitch, 2 to 3 times a week. and then just be playing third whenever he's not pitching.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the only way it'd be possible to see a two-way player play, like, every single day. Like, I remember when Ohtani, before he signed a contract, people were talking about him going to the National League. It was rumored the Giants would be where he's going to go, and then he ended up going to the Angels. It turned out it was, like, close between the Angels and the Mariners. But having Shohei Ohtani in the National League, it was rumored, like, oh, he's going to be our starting pitcher, and then when he's not the starting pitcher, he's going to play outfield, right?
Okay. Now, my question with, like, relief pitchers who are two-way players, it's what about, like, bullpen? Are they going to, like, would you, like, warming up and stuff?
Yeah, could they send him out there between innings, but then you have to worry about his spot coming up in the order.
Yeah.
Like, I think at Citizens Bank, like, the bullpens are, like, open, and you have to, like, go through them, like, through the field. So could you just, like, imagine, like, having to wait because, like, Lorenzen's spot comes up in the order, and then he has to, like,
all the way back from the bullpen.
He has to, like, run in. Yeah, he has to run in from the bullpen. Everyone's just, like, waiting. And then he has to go, grab his stuff, get his batting gloves. Like, something like that would be quite the sight to see. Hey, maybe that means bullpen cards would come back.
Bullpen cards. More bullpen cards.
More bullpen cards. Bullpen cards for the win, dude. We need to bring those back. Those are amazing. Like, oh my gosh, those things, like, especially the ones with the little hats on top of them. Oh,
like the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, have you seen the ones where it's, like, shaped like a baseball? It looks like a carriage, but it has, like, baseball stitches on it, and it has the little hat on top. Oh, man. Bullpen carts are great. But, yeah, I mean, that would just be something, that'd be quite the thing to see. Like, I don't know, maybe TV could go to commercial break or something, but, yeah, that'd be really interesting. But
yeah,
one thing that comes up with two-way players is possibly cheaper teams using two-way players as an outlet to try and beat bigger teams. Like, this sort of reminds me of
a Moneyball situation.
Yeah, like the early stages of Moneyball, using player versatility to try and get
the matchups.
Yeah, try and get matchups and try and get more wins using the complete value of a player. Like what we saw with Matt Davidson last season was, like, him at the plate, he was okay. He started out pretty hot out of the gate. He did okay. But when he pitched, I mean, he didn't pitch that much, but he
only pitched 3 innings, but he didn't do that bad. He struck out Stanton, if you remember that one.
Yeah, he did pretty good, like, every inning he pitched in. And if... then
Lorenzen, on the other hand, you kind of had, like, the opposite effect where, like, he came in from batting and would, like, hit a home. And I remember in one of our podcasts, we were excited about how he had hit more home runs in the month of, like, June than Harper did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago back on TSL. But, yeah, like, teams, like, I don't know. It reminds, like, teams like the Rays are going to... Like, I remember the Rays were talking to Matt Davidson in free agency, and the White Sox were even exploring using Davidson as a two-way player because Davidson approached them and being like, hey, whatever you need me to help, and then White Sox got rid of him. But I remember Davidson was doing an interview on MLB Network, and he was talking about how, like, he doesn't want to, like, take the spot of another guy, but he said, like, oh, if the bullpen is tired,
the bullpen needs him, he'll do it.
Oh, yeah, or they need him, or it's like a blowout game, so it's like they just need innings to fill, then he would be, like, more than happy to do it, right? Which is really good for teams. The
so
more rest your bullpen can get.
Pieces.
Yeah. If it's, I don't know, like 7-0, and it's like the 7th inning, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have to use your good players.
Yeah, you don't want to use players that you might have to use the next day because you're going to be winning.
Yeah, but sometimes managers get stuck in that situation where they're like, oh, we have no one to pitch, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember like, Bochy, like, the Giants were losing to the Dodgers. It was, like, 11-2 or something in, like, the 9th inning. So then Bochy was just like, oh, we have another game after this because it was a doubleheader day. So then they just threw in Sandoval to pitch, and they were like, whatever. Go have fun, right?
Yeah.
But using that in a more, in more common situations, especially when the position players are actually good at pitching.
Yeah, you could, that's another bullpen guy that you can have you can put in if you need him, if he's good at pitching. It's like, all right, well, we're winning by 2 runs, and we're not ready to put in, if you're the Rangers with their closer, it's Leclerc. They're not ready to put in Leclerc, so it's like, well, we're not there yet. We only want to eat it. We only want 1 or 2 innings out of the pen. So, put in Davidson, who he was hitting well earlier. Why not?
Mm-hmm. And you see guys like the Rays are developing, like Brendan McKay, who he's one of the best lefty starting pitching prospects.
Yeah, he can also play first base.
And yeah, he plays first base. He plays a pretty good first base as well. And seeing more guys like that go through, I don't think it's really going to work out with Hunter Green that much based off the numbers he's put up in the minors so far. It doesn't look
I don't really think they're focusing on using him as a two-way player, but I feel like, when he gets to the majors, he's not going to be just an easy out when he comes to the plate.
Yeah, but there are a lot of pitchers who come out of high school or college, and they pitch really well. That's what they're known for. But they'll be hitting 400, right?
Yeah.
And you'll be like, hey, you're never really going to use that again. And then they just develop them as a pitcher. But I mean, teams like the Rays, I know the Rays are in the AL, but if you develop these guys straight out of high school, college, wherever they come from,
also developing their hit tool, I mean, it could be pretty valuable.
Especially in the National League, it could be very useful.
Yeah, so you don't always have to waste there's always going to be pitchers who can't hit. I mean, but in the National League, it's not like, well, we want to put in a relief pitcher, but we also don't want to waste just a bench spot. You know?
It's like
we might need this player later, so we'll just put in this pitcher who can also hit fairly well. Kind of what the Reds did a lot with Lorenzen last year.
Yeah, it's like if you're playing MLB The Show, and Shohei Ohtani's on the mound for you, his spot comes up. You don't have to worry about anything because Shohei Ohtani can actually hit pretty well in the game and in real life. So if Ohtani went to a National League team, that'd be a real benefit for National League managers. Their bench would have
another man on it, basically.
Yeah, their bench would be full, so when relievers come in later in the game, you already have that option, so you don't have to force Bumgarner to go hit in the 12th inning against the Padres, right? So, these guys are... I truly believe it's basically like the next Moneyball, I think.
I think it's like the next evolution for baseball players. So to have a hit tool, but also a pitching tool. I think eventually we're going to see at least every team have at least one guy like this somewhere on the roster.
Mm-hmm. I'd say in about 10 years from now, each team will probably have a few of those guys who have that ability.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all going to be Shohei Ohtani's, out there throwing 100 and then hitting a bunch of dingers, right? No. That's unrealistic. But guys like Matt Davidson, Michael Lorenzen, who are very versatile to teams, will be very useful.
Yeah.
And with that, we are going to head to break. And when we get back, we are going to be discussing Bryce Harper and a 1-year contract with the Rays.
Yeah. I love her off. Said she love me, but she cut me off. Yeah, late nights on the boulevard, hitting stains on an empty heart, yeah. I love her off.
All right, everyone, we are back, and we are going to be discussing Bryce Harper and the Tampa Bay Rays, which at the beginning of the offseason, nobody really thought was a possibility.
But
still, the chances are very, very, very slim.
But the fact that there is a possibility.
Yeah, it's interesting, at least, for us to sort of nerd out and talk about. All right, so basically it was rumored, I believe it was yesterday morning, where Bryce Harper, and the Rays possibly preparing to offer Harper a 1-year contract for, I don't know, a bunch of money, like $40 million, who knows. But it raises a lot of interesting questions.
Yeah.
like I remember the Red Sox in 2013, they would just sign players to shorter deals, guys like Shane Victorino.
Yeah, they just sign them to like
Napoli.
2-3 year deals.
But they raised the annual value on the contracts, so it sort of evened out for them and it looked enticing to the players. Than, you know, like they'd rather take 2 years for $50 million instead of 7 years for like 120, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that makes a lot of sense for those players. Then they could still get somewhat decent deals after those 2-3 year contracts are over. I mean, a 1 year contract, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
And,
but we kind of already saw it this offseason when the Braves signed Josh Donaldson.
mm-hmm.
They gave him a 1 year, like, $23 million deal.
But, like, with the slow offseason we've had, you know, Harper and Machado at least have to consider it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's not like they have a ton of options right now.
Like, I know how much players, you know, they like their guaranteed money, obviously. That's something that is very important to them. But, I mean, like, you're getting a 1 year contract that you could probably live off of the rest of your life.
Yeah, if it's got to be like $35 million for 1 year, that's a lot of money.
Heck, it might even be larger than that. You know, I mean, why a team like the Rays would do this doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, they don't have
Especially
the
with like
money.
some other places where they could put the money towards.
Yeah, I feel like you could improve your team way more
With
you
that
know,
$40 million you're about to throw at Harper.
Yeah, instead of just throwing it all at just one player. But
Yeah.
do you think signing star players to, let's say, a 1 year $40 million deal, if you need that position filled, would be worth it?
If you ask me, it really depends on like other places on your team. Like if you ask, like if this were the Pirates and they were like, yeah, we're gonna go after Machado for a 1 year $40 million deal to play shortstop. I mean, the Pirates, they need another starting pitcher, maybe another bullpen arm, and another outfielder with Lonnie Chisenhall. Who knows how his health will be? But I mean, it's not so many. But you know, Chisenhall, I'm sure he could probably fill in for time. You know, bullpen is still decent without that other arm and the rotation. I mean, it's not like they have to go out and get the star pitcher on the market. It could just be like your average fifth starter, like Buchholz or something, who can eat some innings here and there. It'd be a different situation. I think it really depends on the situation of each team financially and on the team's roster. Because like with the Rays, they still need help on other places like first base, DH, and maybe another starting pitcher. You know?
Yeah. But I think the real question would be is like, and this is the real question no matter what the year's amount is, can you get a higher value or equal value by signing multiple players instead of just signing one for the same amount of money?
I think yes.
Which I also think, yes, is very possible. Like, especially if your team as whole is like, we're not talking about teams like the Red Sox. We're talking about middle teams, maybe like the Reds or something.
The Pirates.
Right? Yeah, the Pirates. Like, if you can fill in other gaps, right?
Yeah.
You just sort of have to throw all the numbers together and then try and figure out if we sign Machado, it's projected we'll get this production, but if we sign like these like five, 6 guys and fill in the holes, it looks like we will get, you know, this production. And you can't really predict it, especially imagine like you throw a 1 year contract at Harper for $40 million and it's just like he hits like 230 with like 18 homers.
That would not be good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be better than for the team as well in the future and stuff if it was just a 1 year $40 million deal than like a 10-year deal with 30 million AAV.
Yeah, well, I think it's less of a risk if you get multiple guys, so you aren't counting on one player to carry all that weight.
Yeah, like if you get yeah, if you get a bunch of players to fill holes that you need, rather than just give a lot of money to one guy that fills one hole, I think you could get better value overall.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, we've talked about big contracts before and why we don't really think they work. It's just putting a lot of faith in one person when you have a roster of 25 guys.
On a team sport.
Yeah, I don't think is the best idea.
Yeah.
This isn't basketball. You can't sign Mike Trout and win the World Series. The Angels have the greatest play on earth, and they can't get anywhere.
They can't get to even the wild card.
Yeah. Were they even close to the wild card last year?
I don't know.
And Ohtani provides a lot of value too when he's not injured.
Playing.
Yeah, when he's not injured too. And it's just they can't get close.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not fully the team's fault because you have they entered the year with a bunch of good players, and then everyone decided they didn't want to play and got hurt. You had every player on that team at least take one 10-day DL trip.
And I think the thing is with baseball too is it's just a lot more randomness happens, right?
Yeah.
Like in the NBA, you'll have guys that sign, supermax contracts, and they usually perform pretty well. They may not do as well as when they are with, another team because of coaching schemes, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But in baseball, you could just go from hitting 340 to hitting 198 just like that, right?
Yeah, in a year span.
Exactly. We've seen guys that are almost one-hit wonders, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll just sort of fall off.
For no real reason.
And that's just how it works. They'll get a big contract and I don't know, Ryan Howard didn't really produce all that good. Oh, here's a great example. Chris Davis. Just was absolutely incredible. Was hitting 50 homers. And then sign him to this massive deal.
And then he had a historically bad season.
He was literally the worst player in Major League Baseball last season. Literally the worst.
Not even the worst of just this year. The worst of multiple years in the past.
Yeah. And the Orioles are paying for it now. Well, I guess the Orioles are trying to lose. I mean, I don't know. They said they were trying to compete last year, but
you could still lose with cheaper ways though, because even if the Orioles someday in the near future they decide, they build up that team that they want to compete with, he's still owed $23 million through 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Oh my god.
That's so it might not be big right now because they're not competing and they're tanking and they're getting rid of players here and there, but it's such a big impact that if he continues to produce like this, it's going to be bad for them.
And the thing is too, nobody really saw it coming that he would fall off that much. A lot of Orioles fans were cheering. They were like, "Oh, come on, Orioles, get him back, We need to sign him back so we could have Chris Davis back, right?" And then he just gone, right? He just
fell off a cliff.
Exactly. And now he's just, I don't know. I mean, I hope he does good. We're not cheering for anyone to do bad, but it just shows that you could be, one of the best players in the league one season, and the next season you lose your touch and you could never find it again.
If you look at his numbers, 2015, he had a 923 OPS, 47 home runs, and finished 14th in MVP voting.
Whew. Wow. Man.
Also with some pretty good defense at first base, and then we get to this year and it's well then.
Yeah, he was trying to focus on Satan, I guess, but. All right.
Hey, he could be a two-way player. He pitched a few innings in 2012, pretty good.
That's true. I think he was the one that closed the game against the Red Sox.
Yeah, he got the win.
Oh yeah.
He pitched 2 innings, struck out 2 batters, only gave up 2 hits. He could be a two-way player.
All right. Well, I think it's gotten to the point where we should end this podcast if we're talking about Chris Davis being a two-way player when he can't even be a one-way player all that great. All right. But thank you, everyone, for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a rating, write us a review. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow us. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Google Play Music, do whatever you do on Google Play Music. But we are on a new schedule, so we will release episodes on Sunday and Thursday, except this one was a little different because it's Super Bowl Sunday, so we just decided that we're just going to release it on Monday. But Sunday and Thursday, that's our new upload schedule, and so we will see you all on Thursday.